America Fest here in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's so exciting. The people that you're going to see here, everybody has been walking around, the doors are open, things are getting started down here, and we ran into the wonderful Sage Steele. She's the host of the Sage Steele Show, and I am so excited to have you because I have also left sports and jumped into this crazy political world that we have now.
Was that your plan?
It was
not my plan.
It was my plan. But I want to get into that a little bit with you because now the Sage Steele Show is doing so well. I see all the guests that you have. It's so exciting to see and just dive into your transition into here and how you actually got here.
I don't know how I got here. That's a great question. Let me know if you find out the answer. Number one, God, because I think, especially the last couple of years since my drama began at ESPN, I just finally gave up control. And okay, I don't know what the heck's happening. I don't know where I'm going to go next. I don't know where I'm going to get a paycheck from next. But I'm just going to trust. And so it's been beautiful to see that evolution and really what everybody says, when you let go and let God, then you never know what happens. So I'm proof of that. I never wanted to do politics. I wanted to stay away from it, even with my show, which began in March. Took a little 2-month hiatus when I ended up on the campaign trail, which again is nothing I ever thought I would ever do or want to do. It's insane. I didn't want to do politics because I'm like, they're going to corner me as a right-wing nut job, and then anyone who thinks differently won't give me a chance to come on and just have a conversation. So I didn't want to do any of this. And here we are. I've had such a blast. I'm not answering your sports question, am I?
That's okay.
I'll go back. Yes. Honestly, I was at my dream job for almost 17 years. When I was 11 years old, I said I wanted to be a sportscaster and eventually get to ESPN. 11 years climbing from local TV to regional before, saying yes to ESPN and going in 2007. So I was in my dream job and loved it forever, even till the end. After it got crazy, I always loved my job. Sports Center, NBA Countdown, whatever it was, and telling stories and educating people and asking questions that the fans can't ask. I want to make that clear. I never stopped loving what I did. It was what came with it and hypocrisy within it, where these executives talk so much about DEI and inclusiveness and accountability and accepting, and then when it came time for me to have my own opinions off the air on my private time, I never crossed that line. I was a sportscaster, not a political analyst. That's when I got punished, and when I got punished for being me when the others were allowed to talk about abortion on an NBA show, that's when I said, okay, enough.
I remember the Jay Cutler podcast that you.
Oh, Jay!
And
yes.
You had the Band-Aid there with the jab, and it was a very emotional moment there for you.
I've been asked so many times if that was a prop, if that was intentional. That day that I recorded that podcast, mid-September 2021, was the last day possible for me to become fully vaccinated to comply with ESPN Disney's vaccine mandate policy. I waited to the very last moment to get it because I was contemplating walking away from my entire career over the jab. And I am the mother of 3 kids. Currently, all 3 kids are in college. I am 100% responsible for them and my ex-husband, frankly, and so I didn't have the ability to walk away financially, nor did I want to. I love my job. And so I literally came from this stupid grocery store where I had gotten my shot, sobbing because I felt forced to do it. I was forced to do it, I guess, essentially, and embarrassed that I caved. But I felt I had no choice in that moment. And so I came right from the grocery store parking lot crying to Jay's podcast, and I forgot the Band-Aid was there. And he asked me if he could ask me about it, and I was like, sure, why not? Look at my face, I'm crying. And I was not I wasn't trying to stir the pot. I was giving my genuine answer, which was, I think it's sick and scary for any company, employer, business to force their people to do something to their bodies. But I understood based on the climate of what we were in at that time, and that Disney was a global company. So when it actually hit air, that's when I got, called into the office, so to speak, and, forced to apologize, etc.
So, when you talk about, I like the way you said, giving up, giving over to God. It doesn't matter, for the audience's sake. It's not like no one sits there and can say, after everyone's been through the last 4 years, oh, well, you had a fancy job with ESPN, and so it must have been easy. the process that you went through is the process that I think many Americans have gone through, right? And tell me about this giving up, because a lot goes into that, right? The fear is it's giving up your dream in a way, right? So whether you work at a school that's persecuting you, right, a local school, an elementary school, whether you work for ESPN, wherever you are, there's been a lot of people who struggled, I think, with this same dilemma because you have to walk away. Talk about that process.
Devastating. I still struggle to think about it, and it's been 3 years since all this was taking place, and I had been suspended and taken off the air and publicly apologizing and taking my assignments away. And then I've been gone since August of 23, so, whatever that is, 17 months. I still struggle because I'm sad that it got to that point, while at the same time being grateful, right, for where I am and the why behind it. So I think we have to identify with all those emotions and not try to push out the fear. And it is true. I personally just relied on my family, my parents, my kids. Like I said, at the time of all the drama, they were 15, 17, and 19. And I've been preaching to them for so long about being true to themselves and standing up and not being quiet. And then who am I to then cave when it certainly, was a big deal, but you can't rank them as far as, okay, you can be strong here, but not here. Like, which one is it? And my ultimate why is because I just pray that my kids are tougher than I was sooner. They know now. And by the way, this has affected them on many levels. People come after and threaten my children, threaten to rape my daughters, threaten death, that they wish I would drive off the side of a curb and never, or a cliff. So I've had to eliminate those from, I don't read a lot of comments for that reason. And I think also, again, just getting on my knees and what do I do here, God? Because I don't know. And finally, something I never thought would come was people coming up to me in public, thousands of emails and DMs from people across the world who had never heard of me, but since my name was associated with fighting Disney, they heard about me. And when I realized that I was touching people in different countries who I'll never meet, I'm like, this is not even about me. I just happen to be the mouth, the big mouth right now. The mouth that got me in trouble is the mouth that actually I think has saved me now, because it doesn't matter how confident or successful you are. I know now, this sounds cheesy to some, but I know why I'm on this earth, to be a mom to those 3 crazies, even though they can't stand me half the time. And because I no longer have a fear to stand up and tell the truth. So the process is continuing to evolve. But when you know you're not alone, and when you know that your strength is helping others, that would be selfish of me to stay quiet. When I have this crazy platform just from talking about sports, what a waste it would have been to stay quiet.
That is such a powerful message. And I know that we're sitting here, we don't have couches, we don't have the nice fuzzy socks here today, Sage.
I can bring you some.
I would love that. But take us into the Sage Steele Show then, and how you managed to go out and do it on your own. You were just telling us how you're setting your booth up here, everything's going. It's not the huge backing and all the people of ESPN behind you now. It's the Sage Steele Show in every regard.
So me and my best friend Sue went shopping last night at a great store here in Scottsdale, because I've never done a booth. I don't have a set. I don't have a team. You guys are great. I don't have any of this, and I'm financing this on my own right now because I believe in it, and I'm just praying that changes. And I know that it will. We're getting there. Actually, I have some things in the works for sure. My whole goal is to have conversations, even on SportsCenter. For all those years, if I had a 6-minute interview, which was long in live television, right? 6 to 8 minutes, super long. X's and O's, what happened in this game, and all the things. And I'm like, guys, I gotta get something personal, because I feel like even if you don't watch the NBA or UFC, if you can find out something about that athlete, that will bring in someone else, and maybe they can identify with them having an alcoholic father. So I've always tried to personalize everything, no matter what network platform I was on. And so to be able to do it now on my shows with a variety of guests, from Dana White to RFK Jr. back in May, to Sharon Osbourne, to Gina Carano, to Chris Stefano comedians. Like I'm learning so much. And most importantly, this is why I've been able to continue. When you let go of the fear of not being liked, when you let go of the fear of being canceled, because I'm really good at getting canceled. But the beautiful thing is the next day I always wake up and I'm like, I'm still here. So the show is a conversation. And I think that's what America has been lacking. True conversations. I've had Mayim Bialik, remember Blossom and Big Bang Theory and Jeopardy host? We could not think more differently. And guess what? We had the best, most beautiful conversation. That's what we need, and that's what I hope to continue to do. Like I said, I took a hiatus during the campaign and just started, I just released yesterday's podcast with John Rich. You talk about courage, the country star, like you talk about courage for what he has said and done. The people I'm speaking with inspire me, and I hope inspire other people to be true to themselves.
You got to go to his house in Nashville. I've been there before, too.
I had never been there.
Incredible. He has the guitar-shaped pool for everybody that doesn't know.
And the toilets.
The toilets, he has, and yes.
That's the most Nashville thing ever.
He has
the
a bar built into his house. Staff comes in there.
Yeah.
He has a saddle that's a disco ball at the top of it. John Rich does it right. But you mentioned on the campaign trail. Take us into being a part of the Trump team.
Girl,
you and Laura Trump were going all over.
I had no clue. I'm like,
sure, I'll go.
Well, I had Laura on my show and Lynn Patton. And then I said, guys, I'd love to just continue to learn more and get more involved, maybe quietly. And then like, hey, we're going on this Women for Trump tour. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure. I just moved to Florida, just moved a couple weeks prior. This is in September. And they said, yeah, meet us at the Palm Beach airport at 6 a.m. on this day. And we're going to go to, I think it was Atlanta for the day. And we're going to pass out food at these food banks desperately in need of food. This is an interesting stat. From 2021 through 2024, the number of people that these food banks serve has increased from 300 per week in the Atlanta area, 300 per week to 1,700 per week families. So what were we doing? We're bringing food and just being there for these people and women-owned businesses. People don't talk about that during the last 3-4 years because of what? Because of the administration that was in there. And so I realized by me coming and putting on that pink jacket, which was a little bit scary, because it's like, okay, if you put that on and put it on social, now you're a Trumper, now you're done. And again, it was bigger than me. And when you realize that there are so many people suffering because of inflation and the economy and the border issues, if I have this platform, how am I not? So Laura Trump, first and foremost, is the most impressive woman I've been around in so long. She has so much courage. She and Michael Whatley single-handedly, in my mind, saved this country in this election by buckling down with the RNC and making sure of the cheating issues, stuff like that. They're amazing. And then what did she do? She met me at the airport at 5 a.m. She worked out beforehand, which made me really not like her.
Of course.
Because I'm like a slacker and I'm like barely making it. And she did an hour-long workout, and that's why she looks like that. And then we get there on the ground and we're with these people and women who had the courage to start businesses and thanking the people in the campaigns in these cities. And then we rush back to the airport so she can be there to tuck in her kids. So to see the human level of the Trump family was amazing. And then I'll say, an honor to be able to moderate Trump's town hall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, as well as J.D. Vance's in Pennsylvania. Guys, I never, ever dreamt of this. And I'm so grateful. And the way that they treated me as just a teammate and made me feel comfortable, because I'm like, they were amazing. It was the biggest blessing of my life besides having my babies.
So we get the big victory in November. Yeah. Everybody is very excited. Where do we go from here as a country, right? You're trying to have conversations. People are trying to come together. It feels like the country is shifting into a different direction. So I agree.
Yeah, let me add to that real quick, because let's bring back that real part of the beginning. Practically speaking, right? The reality is, when people leave, whether it's a law school, elite law firm or bank or whatever, a lot of people have gone through this, and they leave that, ESPN is an elite media institution, right? So you have all the benefits of that, and an entire ecosystem that funds it, and a ton of talent all around you. And let's be real about this. When you leave that, right? And then all of a sudden, of course, it's scary because that doesn't exist. But now, to what Jill is saying, it feels like in this new frontier, in this open space, there's all these people coming together, and the possibility is to build new things. And so we are always curious about people who, you know, are going and doing this on sort of on the cutting edge, about how it's going. You are on the cutting edge.
Am I?
Yes.
Yeah, it still freaks me out, because when you work in network television for 30 years, you only know one way. I have never been a leader per se, like title or, you know, position. I've had my job, and I answered to 65 bosses at ESPN and everywhere else. So to do it on your own has been super hard. And I'm learning how much I need structure, which is what you have when you have to host a national TV show every day at ESPN. So I have to create my own, and I'm not good at it. So I'm learning about that. The algorithm of YouTube and all that, like, I have no idea. So I'm just winging it, but having the conversations. And also, I really believe, obviously we are headed in a great direction. The number of people, first of all, this is record setting for AmFest, right? The number of people who are paying to be here is incredible. It speaks to I think the tenor of the country. I live in Florida. I walk every day on the beach. The MAGA hats are everywhere now. First of all, I'm like, oh, now, where have you been?
Yeah.
We need it's fine. You can jump on our bandwagon now. But there's so many people who have come up and said they're so relieved. They're so excited because they finally feel like they're not alone. And it takes, though, people like you guys, all of us, to not be fearful. That's what this is. Professionally, personally, with your neighbors and your family who might think differently, lead with kindness, have the tough conversations, and then be bold. And like, we're all here for a reason. Again, a couple years ago, you're doing sports.
Yes.
You would never probably have thought of this, but you're here for a reason, and we are making a difference.